I get that you just said it's bad,
Okay.
but like in the Bible says not to do it.
Right.
Pride.
Or not to have it.
Not to have it.
Yeah.
But like what about it is a sin?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like
makes sense. So
like what is the problem with
being
doing
prideful?
with doing any of those things or being that way?
All right. So 1 Corinthians 13:4.
Okay.
Love is patient, love is kind. Love does not envy, it is not boastful, it's not arrogant. And many of us have heard this verse before. We've probably heard it at weddings. But that idea that love does not envy, love is not boastful, love is not arrogant. In other words, pride, which is sinful, is this selfish love.
Okay.
And it's the antithesis of God's love.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the opposite of God's love, which is a sacrificial love.
Does God love himself?
God does love himself.
Then what?
Yeah, but remember I said it's a selfish love. I didn't say it's a lack of self-love.
Okay.
We should, like God even commands us in the second commandment, love others as we love ourselves.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with loving ourselves rightly.
So
for who we are, for who we've been made to be.
Could we love how selfish other people are?
Could we love how selfish other people are? I don't think most of us think that way.
Okay.
I don't think most of us are.
Because if I'm selfish, but I love it when other people are selfish, then is that bad?
That's just selfish. I mean, it's because loving. Let me put it this way. So God's love, so it's a sacrificial love, okay?
Okay.
And it's a love that's
selfless love.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's sacrificial, and it's putting the well-being of others before self.
Okay.
So in other words, it's celebrate. So love, God's love celebrates, okay, the well-being of others. Others being treated well, others being cared for. That's what God's love celebrates. Okay?
So when Jesus did his thing, that was selfless love.
Correct.
That's kind of the whole point.
Kind of the whole point.
Okay.
Yeah. When Jesus came down, that was a sacrificial love, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so there's that. So that's why this idea of pride is the issue with it is that it's unloving.
Okay.
Okay. Or if it is quote unquote loving, it's a selfish love. And again, it's perfectly fine to love self in a right manner. And we can get into that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
So it's perfectly fine to love self in a right manner.
There's a line here somewhere.
There's a line.
And we're going to find it.
I know. You're all about that line.
Yeah.
I know. All right. So secondly, 2 Corinthians 10:3-5 says, "For although we live in the flesh, we do not wage war according to the flesh. Since the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but are powerful through God for the demolition of strongholds. So we demolish arguments and every proud thing that is raised up against the knowledge of God," or above the knowledge of God. "And we take every thought captive to obey Christ." So pride is also lifting thoughts above or against the knowledge of God. And in other words, thinking that one knows better than God. Thinking that something is right when God calls it wrong.
Okay.
Or calling something wrong that God calls right. Or maybe even a thought of that we just don't even need God. Okay. And so in our own pride, it's not just selfish in nature. It can also be exalting oneself, one's thoughts, one's ideas about self above the knowledge of God. Or it can be thinking that, hey, I just simply know better than God. Or God says that's wrong. Nah, it's right. And so going against what God has declared and therefore going against God is pride.